And welcome you to today's Chamber Live. This is Sales Club. The views expressed in this seminar do not necessarily represent the views of East Lancashire Chamber of Commerce, although normally we do agree with Jonathan and the Sales Geeks. And all facts are believed to be correct at the time of recording on the 15th of July 2020. Time to meet our guest speaker this morning. Jonathan Finch of Sales Geek is known, I don't doubt, to every single one of you. He's entrepreneur, leader, trainer, all-round sales guru, and is passionate about removing the stigma surrounding sales as a role or function and focusing more on supporting, nurturing and recognising sales as a valued profession. Over to you, mate.
Firstly, can I just thank Jen for such a wonderful introduction, and Simon, I know you'll be listening to this. I just think Jen nailed it. Honestly, I'm just going to be honest. I think she needs to do this more often. Guys, well, very good morning. As Jen said, my name's Jonathan Finch. I lead the sales team over at Sales Geek. Jen mentioned that. Leave questions till the end. In the meantime, please launch those through the chat function as we're going along. I'll try and answer them. It's much more fun for everybody if we keep this interactive, if you guys are involved in it as well. The very last thing that I'd want you to be sitting here for half an hour, 45 minutes, listening to me run through a PowerPoint. I don't think that'll do anyone any fun. So very first and foremost, if anybody hasn't dropped their information on the poll, we've just dropped a poll out there, which I think has been open now. We've got 23 people that have been on that. But first thing I wanted to ask you guys, how do most of your leads come into your business at the moment? I've got quite a bit of content to run through with you guys today, but more than happy to go off on a bit of a tangent and touch on particular subjects if anyone wants to find out more about one particular area. So again, please keep those things coming through on the chat feed as we're going along, and also just on the poll there, if you could just comment as to whether most of your stuff is inbound or outbound, we'll get started. So just very briefly, I suppose, to give you an introduction as to, for those of you who don't know who Sales Geek are, what we do, we work with businesses all across the UK. Since COVID started, all across the world. We've got a few clients over in the US now, but we work with salespeople, small business owners, and we are trying to change the way that the world perceives sales. I'm sure every single one of you, due to the fact that you've logged on and are listening to this at the moment, are in a revenue generating role in some way. And with that, it's not easy. I know that I have probably as many ups and downs as the rest of everybody else on the sales roller coaster. But we're here to make that a little bit easier for everybody. The point of these sessions and what we do with clients is just to give a bit more inspiration, sometimes a few more ideas, and also a bit of support, really, to show people that they're going in the right direction. So, right, I will just bring up the share screen. So to give you a bit of a run through as to what we're going to do, I'll come on to the agenda in a second. Hopefully you can all see that. If Debbie, Jen, could you just give me a nod if you can see that? Wonderful, fantastic. So you can see the Sales Geek logo there. Today we're mainly going to be talking around virtual selling. I have saved a little bit at the end for cold calling if anyone wants to hear a little bit more about that. But I do sense whenever we talk around cold calling, the sense of fear dives into everybody, and everybody gets that clammy feeling. I know I used to when it talks about cold calling. So we're going to talk about a lot of virtual selling today. Virtual selling is a phrase that has been thrown around a heck of a lot at the moment. And when we look at it, it's very simple. Due to the fact that we haven't been able to get in front of people face to face or over the phone, a lot more is happening over Zoom, a lot more is happening over Microsoft Teams or WhatsApp video. And what I'm going to run through today is a few different tips, both on social selling, but also on virtual selling, that will hopefully help you generate more leads, more inquiries. I am going to drop through some actual things that you can do. This isn't going to be a very holistic approach where we're just looking at the top, the strategy side of things. There's going to be some very quick, easy strategy things, but I want you all to come away with at least 3 things today that you can immediately go and do, can go and implement, that will help you in your business or in your role generate more revenue. So if you don't feel like you're getting that towards the end of the session, please, again, make sure that you're commenting on there and asking for a little bit more. I will save quite a bit of time at the end. I'm hoping for about 15, 20 minutes left at the end to answer any questions that anybody has got in relation to anything that we've talked about today. But also, like I said, as we're going along, throw those questions out. If there's anything that you want to know that we haven't touched on in this session or haven't talked about at all, please just let me know at the end of the session. I'm sure Jen will be unmuting some people so you guys can fire those out. But due to the fact that we are talking around social selling, social media, social marketing, I thought the very first thing that we should probably do is get a post out on social media. Now, it is completely up to you guys where you want to put your post out on social media, whether you want to do it on LinkedIn, whether you want to do it on Facebook, whether you want to do it on Instagram. I don't know whether we've got any TikTokers, but just put something up on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram. If you want to relate it to Sales Club, I've put the hashtags at the top there, hashtag Sales Club, hashtag Sales Geek. Drop those up there as well, please. But also, I want you to ask a question within that post. So this will help you with interaction. It's a really simple tip, but to help you get more out of your posts, and we're going to talk about how to engage with people on those posts later. But say, for example, so I'm going to put one up now. You'll probably see all mine coming through in a second. But I'm going to put one up, take a little selfie. And I'm going to put one up on LinkedIn that says, really excited to be running Sales Club. What is your biggest sales challenge at the moment? So very, very simple thing, but I'm finishing it with an open question there. And I am going to run through with you guys later while we're doing that. So I will just give everybody there, I'll give you a couple of minutes just to put your posts up. I'm going to drop mine up. If you want to tag anybody else in as well, this one's got for me is going on LinkedIn. If you want to tag anyone else, and you can see on Sales Club, but please make sure you use those hashtags as well.
Please tag the chamber as well at will.
What's the hashtag for the chamber? Have you got one?
We don't use a particular hashtag. I'd use hashtag Sales Club for this, but tag the actual chamber page as well.
That's East Lancs Chamber of Commerce. If you type the @ symbol and then type in East Lancs.
East Lancashire. East Lancashire Chamber of Commerce. Last time we did this, guys, we trended nationally, so get on with it.
Let's have it. Well excited to be at delivering Sales Club.
There's a lot of concentrating faces, Jonathan, going on. A lot of forms are out. Everybody's looking down.
Right, mine's gone. What's your biggest sales challenge at the moment? Hashtag Sales Geek, hashtag Sales Club, at East Lancs Chamber of Commerce. I'm actually going to tag Simon Briley and put not missing you at all, Simon.
No, he'll make me do it every week if you say that.
Right, mine has just gone out there. I'll give everybody a second to just keep that going. So while you guys are just finishing off on that, I'll just briefly run you through the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. Let's just keep that moving. So virtual selling, like I mentioned before, this is a topic at the moment that if you pay any attention to what goes on in sales news, the Institute of Sales Management, what sales coaches are talking about, the term virtual selling is getting thrown around so much at the moment. It very simply means how can we sell to people and how can we do our sales process when we can't physically get in front of people. Now, I want to stay away from the COVID word today. I think everybody's sick of it. I certainly am. Second wave, is it coming? Is not coming? We don't want to hear about it. What we do want to talk about is what we can do now, what we can do today, what we can do that's going to help us make more revenue and bring in more sales figures. We keep talking about this recession that's coming. Absolutely fine. If it's coming, great. Come at us. We'll absolutely smash through it. So we'll be running through some virtual selling tips. Going to give you a bit more of an overview on that. Social media as well, a big topic. Anybody who knows Sales Geek, anyone knows what we talk about. We are huge advocates of social media, both using it as a marketing tool, but most importantly, using it as a sales tool. And I'm going to be running through the two differences there and what are the most important things for you to be looking at when it comes to social media selling and social marketing. Cold calling, I'm going to leave right to the end. One of the biggest reasons being, I think it is a topic that we may cover next time. We've got time, more than happy to run through that today. And if anyone's got any questions or tips on that, more than happy to throw that out there. But I'm just going to chuck it out there. I don't think there is any need to cold call anymore, and I will run through it later on towards the end why. Then, very final thing, I'm going to talk about the lead generator, the biggest thing in your armory that you've got at the moment, which I can guarantee 90% of you will probably know about, you just won't be doing. So hopefully this will be a big reminder to help you get more stuff into your funnel with a few easy phrases. So, just to touch on the very first part of this, I wanted to just give a 30-second run through as to what sales process is. Anyone who's been on Sales Club before will probably know about this. It is pretty much the A to B mentality. How are we going to guide a client all the way over from A, when we very first engage with that client, all the way over to B, where that client actually buys from us. So to give you an idea as to how this used to work, the process. So just to run through that again, say for example, client gets in contact with us at A, we're trying to push them through to B where they buy something. There's going to be different steps in the middle of that line. So to give you a bit more of an example, A to B again. So previously, if we went back 15 years, something like that, one of the ways that we could advertise ourselves and get our products, our services out there would have been to put an advert in the Yellow Pages. Different sizes of adverts, you get big ones, small ones, you can just have your details in there. Say, for example, I was looking for someone to do my garden. I could go in the Yellow Pages, have a look for an advert for a gardener there. I would then ring up that person and say, I wonder if you can help me. I've just seen your adverts in the Yellow Pages, potentially interested in you doing my garden. Hopefully build a bit of trust with me. Oh, yeah, we do a lot of gardens around your house. Yeah, we're very savvy with that sort of stuff. What do you need us to do? Build a bit of trust, build a rapport. Sell, 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 sell. Yeah, we can do it. Give you the price. This is when we can come out. Close the deal. Very happy. So that was the process 10 years ago. But now with social media, with virtual selling, with Zoom, with Microsoft Teams, with interactive proposal systems, with CRMs, there's so many other ways that we can be doing this now. So to give you another way as to how this might work, at the moment, obviously we've got LinkedIn that we can use as an outreach tool. So this is a little bit more of an in-depth view as to how it might work now rather than 10 years ago. So again, starting off at A, it's quite a lengthy process this. I couldn't do this in all one line, so we're going to follow the arrows on this. Second thing we might do, we might send someone a LinkedIn message. Hi, really love that post that you did the other day regarding sales training. I wonder if it was something that would be worth us talking about. So again, we're going to run through what we can do with some outbound messages later on. I'm going to give you some physical things that you can do and utilize to go out to people through LinkedIn. Just bearing in mind, looking at the poll, 71% of people have said there that inbound leads are their biggest way of bringing in business, and 29% have said that outbound leads are their biggest way to go to market at the moment. What I'm going to try and help you guys with today is really focusing in not just on the inbound bit, but mainly on that outbound point. Outbound can be absolutely fantastic for us because we can really pinpoint who we're going to go for. When we look at marketing and drawing leads in, we're a little bit at the mercy of the sector as to what gets passed into our inbox or into our LinkedIn mailbox. When we go outbound, we can be really specific as to we're going to a company because they hit our criteria. So we'll be talking about that later. So hopefully from once we'd send them a LinkedIn message, we would then be trying to set up a phone call with that person. I know at the moment where people are trying to skip this a lot. I don't know about anyone else, but my inbox seems to be full of these messages at the moment. Hi, my name's such a buddy. I've come up with this such a scheme that's going to really work for you guys at Sales Geek. Please click here to book now through our website. And people are trying to skip out on that bit of the phone there, of utilizing the phone or utilizing a Zoom call. This is the old way that we might have done it. So we jumped onto LinkedIn, sent them a message, called them up, jumped in the car, then gone and sat with the person for an hour and a half. Would have then gone back home to, well, I suppose what would be home at the moment, or gone back to the office, put together a proposal for them, sent that proposal over by email or by our proposal system. Been very happy with ourselves because we've now got a new proposal out. We know that we're going to get that deal. Then we sit there and we wait. And we don't get a response, so we email them again. And then we wait again. We haven't heard anything back. And then hopefully we're either going to get a yes or a no from people on that. Has anyone found themselves in that position before or followed a similar process? Give us a shout out onto the chat there if anyone has found that. I certainly have found myself in that position many a time over the years where I'm at the mercy of the person that I've sent it over to. And also what's happened here is I've wasted a lot of my time because if we look at that process as it stands there, not only have I been out in the car to see that person, so well, let's take it from the start. First of all, I've had to go onto LinkedIn, find the person I want to speak to, then sent them an in-mail, which they've responded to. So I had to put that together based on hopefully something that would be personalized. I've then wasted 10 minutes of my time on the phone to them, trying to book in a meeting with them. If I'm lucky, it'll have been 10 minutes, might have been half an hour. I've then wasted half an hour jumping in the car to go and see somebody. I've then sat with them for an hour and a half to put together that proposal, then come back, put the proposal back. Before we get to the end of this process, including all the chase-ups, this could take me anything between 4 and 5 hours to put together. So if we look at the process and how it could work now, very similar. We get in contact with somebody through LinkedIn, send them a message, say, I'd really love to speak to you about X, Y, Z. They go, yeah, absolutely fine. Love to speak to you. We then Zoom that person. We have a little Zoom meeting with them, spend half an hour to an hour on a Zoom call with them. Put the contract together, send the contract over, very happy with myself. Wait, send them another email, wait, send them another email and get the yes or no. Now, this is the virtual selling process. You'll notice that there is one key thing that has been taken out of there. The phone has been taken out of there. And I don't know about anybody else, but I have found myself over lockdown using my mobile a hell of a lot less than I was prior to lockdown. One of the reasons is everybody's trying to do things through Zoom and Microsoft Teams. What I have also found, though, and again, this is coming back to the cold calling side of things that I'm going to talk to people about toward the end, I personally have never found it easier to get decision makers on their mobile phones. You ring up the office for that company and say, I wonder if you could help me. I'm trying to speak to Bob Smith. Oh, give me a second. I'll just see if I can find him. Oh, he's working from home at the moment. Can I put you through to his mobile? Oh, yeah, absolutely perfect. This could be the VP of sales, sales director, managing director for larger organizations. Because everybody's working mobile, less people are actively going after mobile numbers. So one of the things that I have also found here is that due to the fact that I'm doing most of my stuff over Zoom at the moment, I've sometimes forgot to get people's mobile numbers. Now, towards the end of this process, that causes you big issues, because if you haven't got the person's mobile number, you've only got a Zoom link and you've only got an email for that person, you're really going to struggle to do your follow-up. And I don't mind saying, over the last few weeks, I have made this mistake a couple of times, that I haven't got the mobile number. I've had a phenomenal meeting with the person over Zoom, and I've got to the end of the process and realized I haven't got their mobile number. Mobile numbers are absolutely key. It was drilled into me at a very, very young age. You have got a route straight into somebody's pocket there. You can get straight in contact with that person by ringing them. They might not answer, but you've got a much better chance of catching them than you have of dropping an email. One of the biggest reasons being emails are very, very easy to ignore. If something comes through into your inbox, you've got 10 other emails, you start prioritizing in your head. If you are not a priority for that person, they aren't going to get back to you. By contacting their mobile, if they answer, they are making you that priority at that moment in time. So please, 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 if you take one thing from what we're talking about today, make sure you are getting more mobile numbers. So I'm not going to go too much into sales process, but just wanted to give a bit more of an overview. The process that I've talked about here is much more focused on virtual selling. So this is more the process as we're moving forward, but there are things that we should be doing and taking from the old process. So next thing I want to talk to you guys about, where does social come into this? Jen, I think we've got a poll around. Let me just end this one. I'm just going to drop up one more poll, guys. Okay, so poll 2, where do most of your leads come in from? I've just launched that now, so that should be with you. But a lot of people said that they get a lot of inbound leads. But first of all, I want us to talk about, if anyone could be doing that poll while I'm just talking through what we're going to run through on social now. Social media isn't just a tool that we can be using to outreach to people. It's also something that we can be using as a marketing tool. And when I say a marketing tool, not just to market to people that we are trying to bring into our funnel, but it can also be a marketing tool for people that are already in and part of our sales process. So say, for example, I've got someone that I've had a Zoom call with, and I've sent out some information to them. They've got my proposal, and I'm waiting to catch up with them again. I can also use social media to keep in that person's eye line. We've got quite a large proposal that we are doing for a company this week, and I am making sure, based on what their issues, their challenges are in that proposal that they've asked me to send over, every bit of content that we're putting out this week that is value-based content on LinkedIn is all focused around their issues and their challenges. And what I've also made sure that I've done is added all of their sales team on. I want to make sure that if they are seeing anything on social media at the moment that they're going, blooming, that was a good piece of content, they are seeing it from us. So based on what that proposal was, I really want to make sure that we win this proposal. So I'm making sure that all the content that we're putting out there at the moment is going to help them as a company. So you might go, well, that's very precise. It absolutely is very precise for one company that I'm going out for. But what it will probably give me, I'm hoping, is a big unique selling point, because their team will have been talking about what we've been doing. They'll have been sharing things within the office. That is definitely going to help us. It's going to give us a lot more influencers within that business to try and get this deal across the line. So next thing I want to talk about, using social media for inbound versus outbound. So just a quick one, Annie, if everyone could just put onto the chat. How many people at the moment are using LinkedIn as more of an outbound selling tool, so actively going out to people and going, we'd like to work with you, versus waiting for inbound for people to come in via their message box saying, I love what you did the other day. Thank you for putting that advertisement out. Can we speak more about your services? Jenny, outbound. Max, inbound. Clive, outbound. Fantastic. So 2 outbound, 1 inbound. Outbound, outbound. Duncan, wonderful outbound. Brilliant. Absolutely loving that we've got more outbound here, because that is something we're going to be talking about and giving you guys some tips on how to do more stuff on outbound in a second. So social media, when we start looking at, I'm predominantly going to be talking about LinkedIn. We're a B2B business here. I know a lot of companies will do stuff through Facebook as well, but B2B is probably our biggest tool. When we talk about LinkedIn, the first thing that we have to look at is splitting social selling versus social marketing, because we often mistake this. And I know I've walked into sales teams and sat with members of their staff before, and I've gone, what are you doing at the moment? And they're scrolling down the feed on LinkedIn, and very proudly they've looked me in the eye and gone, Jonathan, I am social selling. Scrolling the LinkedIn feed, putting stuff out onto LinkedIn isn't selling, it is marketing. So however we look at that, there's very few times when putting out a post there comes down to selling. Most of the time we are marketing our services. So the things that I've put up, no worries, Bob, I'll see you later, Bob. Just looking on the bit that I put up here, if you are putting a post up, a video up, or a photo up, or a document, that is marketing your services. You are going out to the market sector and going, I am here. If you would like to get in contact with me, get in contact with me. That's pretty much everything that every post is saying out there. We don't necessarily say it in those words. So once we start using the messaging tool, that is when it turns into selling, and it starts turning it into actual engagement. So when it comes to putting out statuses onto LinkedIn, and I'm going to talk a little bit about marketing now, because sales and marketing have never, ever been close together. Like I said before, a lot of the content I'm putting out this week, I'm utilizing it as marketing, but it's helping me with my selling efforts as well. So sales and marketing have never been closer together. So just a quick 20-minute social selling strategy. I'm going to run you through a few things here that you guys can do that are really going to help you turn posts into leads, because I made this mistake massively. And I knew, for anyone who's watched Sales Club before will know, I think that likes and comments are a vanity metrics. When I look at the bottom of a post that I've done and I've gone 53,000 people or 4,000 people have seen that post, it's a vanity metric. If I didn't get a single lead off that, or I'm not going to get a single lead off that, it was pointless. Just because a load of people have liked it, shared it, commented on it, doesn't make it a good post. There's loads of crap at the moment going around on LinkedIn, on Facebook, that's just very clickbaity stuff that doesn't provide any value. So rule number 1, make sure that you are consistently posting out onto LinkedIn. I'm not saying at all that you shouldn't be posting, which I might have sounded like I was doing. But what I want to do is make sure that we're turning any interaction that we get into leads, into interactions, into things that we can do. So post a few times per week. Make sure that you've got a theme behind what you're posting about. You'll probably notice that whenever we post at Sales Geek, we post about sales topics. One of the biggest reasons being I want people to approach us, and I want us to be renowned and known for all the things that we do within sales. I don't want to be known that we do business consultancy. I don't want to be known that we help with marketing. They aren't things that we can help with. We're not very good at those things compared to what we are at sales. So whenever we talk about content, I want to be offering people value from a sales perspective. So just have a think for a second what your niche would be. If you're in the legal profession, for example, you might want to be putting posts out about changes to return to work for people coming back after lockdown, putting something out there, the 3 biggest things you need to think about when it comes to returning to work, or your staff returning to work after lockdown. Everybody who is on this call will have a niche. If you have a niche, it means you can find an audience. There will be other people out there that will want to view your content, will want to see what you're putting out there. Don't go too broad on this. Make sure that it is a niche. You are much better having 10 people that are constantly following you, constantly liking, constantly engaging, because once they comment, they like, they will open it up to their network, which will mean, again, we can start looking at how we're going to turn other comments and interactions into engagements. So the posts that you guys did earlier and put onto LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, wherever you put that, I'm going to see if we can help you guys turn some of that into interaction. So very, very brief run through there. Again, we don't have time to run through a full social selling strategy. We normally do a 2-day course around social selling. So that is a very quick run through of what you can do. Here is an example, though, of a post that I did the other day. So I'm going to show you now how we at Sales Geek turn our posts into leads. And I'm going to run you through the full process of how to do this. So, post that I put up the other day, the 3 biggest lessons I've learned in my sales career. Focus on finding the problem, not just on solution. Listening to understand, not to respond. Focus more on building a relationship than making a sale. If you could go back in time, what would you go back in time and tell yourself? So from that, 24 interactions, likes, claps, light bulbs, and then 5 comments, 2,787 views of the post. So not a massive post. It didn't go an absolute country mile. But what did happen from that was that people engaged on it. So I've removed the details of the person that engaged on this, but we got 5 comments on there of people that had mentioned. I'd finished it off, I mentioned there, with what would you go back in time and tell yourself? So I've finished that with an open question at the end of it. People love open questions at the end of posts because it means that they can get involved. So off the back of that, from the post, engage with the people that have commented. One of the worst things that you can do is put a post up there, people comment on it, and you don't respond to those people. It is difficult. I know that there's a lot of stuff going on LinkedIn. You've probably got stuff pinging all over the place, messages, notifications, people adding you. But for me, it is really rude. It's very much like standing up in a networking event and going, if anyone would like to talk to me about sales stuff, come and speak to me. And then someone coming over and you just start standing there, mute at them, going. So if people are engaging with you, they're taking the time to engage with your posts, make sure you engage back with them, even if it is just something like, I love this, really like this. Now, we can take that one step further, because this person, as an example, interacted on our post and put something like, based on my response here, they put, a no is better than knowing. So their bit was, if they could go back in time and tell themselves something, getting a no from a client was better than knowing. So then I've gone on and I've messaged this person. They're a first connection of mine. And I've put, hey, such your body. I've taken the details out here. I love that comment about no is better than knowing. It took me ages at the start of my sales career to grasp that. How are you guys getting on at the moment? So I'm not going to run you through the full process of this, because this is now somebody that I've just got a proposal out to. I got in contact with them, started again through LinkedIn. I was only speaking to them through Messenger, but managed to arrange a phone call with them. Had a phone call that went very well. We've sent a proposal over to help them and their sales team with some social selling stuff. So this is a very quick guide of how to turn this sort of thing into engagement. And I know what a lot of you will be looking at. You'll be going, well, your first post there, Jonathan, doesn't actually sell anything. Your first message there has just said, how are you guys getting on at the moment? Which moves me on to my next point. A lot of what we're trying to do at the moment is skip the hard work. We're trying to cut out the small talk and get straight to the point. It is pretty much like walking up to somebody into a bar, and rather than making the small talk, if you're trying to find a partner out there or you're going on a date, trying to cut out the small talk and asking them to marry you straight away, you're probably going to get a slap. And I don't blame it. If someone messages me straight away on the messenger function on LinkedIn and just tries to sell me something, they get a virtual slap, which a virtual slap means that I go on there, I delete that person from my LinkedIn, I don't respond to them, and I get rid of them out of my ether. It's the same as, like I say, at a bar or at a restaurant, giving someone a slap and walking away from them. So what we're trying to do at the moment, very often, and what we're trying to, I think a lot of people are doing within the sector, is trying to skip out the hard work. The first part of that message wasn't, hey, really like your comment, would you like to book some of your team on our new social selling course that we've got? Because the person's going to go, absolutely not, I don't really know you. I've commented on one of your posts, but who are you? From this, it took about another 4 or 5 messages to book into a phone call. But it was, how are you guys getting on at the moment? Have your sales team come back off furlough? Are you doing anything in regards to virtual and social selling? We've seen a real increase in people asking for that. So it was a very softly approach. I mean, this person, it was a lady, she said that they had an issue. They had a challenge with social selling when we started talking about it. If she had said that they didn't have a problem, do you know what? I wouldn't have pitched anything. And one of the first things that we need to look for anyone that we're going out to and engaging with isn't to sell to. And if you make a note of anything, again, in this session, please make a note of this. When it comes to selling or engaging with people, your first stage isn't to try and sell them a product. It is to see if they've got a problem. If they've got a problem, if they've got a challenge, if they've got something that they're struggling with that you can solve, you are quite within your rights. And actually, I'm going to go further. It's your duty to offer that person a solution for it. If you've got a product that's worthy, that solves a problem for it, of course somebody is going to want to pay you for doing that. I can guarantee at the moment there's probably loads of sales directors around the UK with their head in their hands going, I just wish I could teach the guys a bit more about virtual selling. I keep seeing it, and it's about social selling at the moment. That's what we're here for. If somebody comes to us and wants some more help with that, we are here to help them with that. But if someone hasn't got a problem with it, I'm not going to pitch them anything. There's not anything we can help them with. So first of all, find the problem. Once you've found a problem, then you can look to sell them your solution. It's the biggest thing that I think people struggle with. They go in thinking, I need to sell to this person. Don't go in to try and sell to them. They might not have a problem at the moment. Go in and engage with them. See if they've got a problem. They don't have one at the moment. Do you know what? They might come back to you in 6 months and go, you know that last time we spoke about this, it's become a bit more of an issue. Can we speak? So this is a really good way of building pipeline. So if anybody goes onto LinkedIn now, has a look through their status that they have put up before, and I'm hoping that you guys all put a question at the end of it. If anybody that is your potential target audience has commented on that, drop them a little message through. Don't just comment back and put love this. Go a little bit further. Drop them a message through. How are things going at your end? Are you guys back to in the office after COVID? It doesn't have to be a salesy message. Talk to somebody like you would talk to them at a networking event. Talk to them like if they're that person over at the other end of the room that stood there on their own, how you'd go and engage with them. It is the exact same on social media. So I better keep going on this. So just to point out on this, if you send out 10 new messages per day, I mean, this is what I'm going to talk about here is a really, really quick and easy sales funnel. 10 new messages per day equals 50 new potential leads that you've got per week. If you've got 50 new leads per week and 20% of those people interact with you, it means that you've got 10 potential new meetings. So I'm going to run that again because it's very important for everyone to understand this. If you send out 10 new messages per day to 10 people, that means you're going to get 50 potential new leads per week. You get 50 new leads per week. I'm not saying prospects. When I say prospects, that means that people that have said that they're interested in what we do. Leads are people that we are going out to and saying, you might be interested in what we do. You get 50 new leads per week. 20% of those go, yeah, it'd be worth us jumping on a phone call. You have just got 10 new meetings in your diary. Now, if you said that even you just converted, I'm going, what, 10% of those, that is one person per week extra that you are going to convert and are going to turn into revenue. This isn't difficult stuff, but it does mean that you have to segregate a little bit of time out of your diary every single day to do a bit of outreach. This doesn't take a lot of time. You can do this within half an hour per day. Half an hour per day to get 10 new meetings every week. That's probably one of the best return on investments you're ever going to get in a sales perspective. So never stop prospecting. So please make sure that you guys are doing that. Honestly, if you take away, again, one more thing from this, that would mean that this was an hour very well spent for you. So a couple of top tips for you there. Engage on LinkedIn with a view to booking in a Zoom call or a phone call. Do not try and sell through LinkedIn. It doesn't work. People don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you until they've had that conversation with you on the phone. You're going to get so much more trust from someone getting that interaction through the phone with them. Second one, just keep asking until someone says yes. Would you like to have a meeting with me? No. Would you like to have a meeting with me? No. Would you like to have a meeting with me? No. That's 3 people that have said no. Do you know what? Doesn't mean number 4 isn't going to want to meet with you. Keep asking till someone said yes. This was a piece of advice that I got very, very early on in my career, and it stood me in very good stead. Just keep asking until somebody says yes. LinkedIn's a tool. Don't become a slave to it. If you find yourself every single day spending 2 hours scrolling down your feed, it's not a very good use of time. Spending an hour on your feed, messaging people, very, very good use of time. Compliment, engage, message. Compliment someone. If you see a post that somebody's put out there that you like, compliment them on that post, engage with it, and you know what? Drop them a message after it as well. If I find out that the head of sales at Virgin Media has just put up a post about virtual selling, or I keep using the phrase around how to close better, or how their team are using a different closing technique, you know what? I'll message that person afterwards and go, hi, Bob, really love that thing that you put up before. How are you guys finding it at the moment? Again, I'm just interacting with people. This isn't a pushy sales technique. Finally, LinkedIn is part of the strategy. Do not make it your entire strategy. So I'm going to keep moving on from this, guys. Just to quickly run through the polls then. Where do most of your leads come from? Social media, referral partners, wonderful. We're going to have a little talk about that at the end. Website, outbound efforts, only 13% outbound efforts, 13% networking, referrals, again, 19%, wonderful. Word of mouth, 10%. 0% cold calling, flipping it. Cold calling must be dead. It's only dead if people aren't doing it, but we will talk about that again a little bit at the end. I think there might be something that we can do to help people on that, and other 2% on there. So just before I move on to the next section, let me just pull up our next poll. I'm going to go with how many new prospects do you engage with every day? So I've just launched that for you guys. You should all be able to see that. But just at the moment, it'd be really interesting to find out how many new prospects you're engaging with at the moment. I know I've told everybody there to engage with 10 prospects per day, which is 50 per week. Really nice start to the funnel. Excuse me. But how many are you engaging with per day? So I will leave that up there for a second and just wet my whistle. Wonderful. Right, I'm going to come back to that in a second, but if everybody could keep polling on there. Okay, so I'm going to move on now, guys, to virtual selling. Again, I think we'll get a very quick time at the end to run through cold calling. One of the problems that we have with virtual selling, which is a real issue, is this was something that we brought up. I think it was the University of Harvard that did a survey on this a little while ago, a report on this. around how body language affects the way that we interact with people and the way that we take a message in. So if we're face to face with somebody, so I've come into your office or you've come into our office, body language will dictate 55% of how you receive that message. And I think this is absolutely true. If you walk in very slouchy now and you get an opinion of someone straight away, someone walks in, shoulders back, a bit too confident, you get the exact same. But tone of voice is only 38%. But words are only 7% of how people take that message in. Now, that was absolutely, I think, an amazing statistic for me, because I've always thought I need to think about what I'm saying. Now, based on these stats, it's not what you're saying, it is the way that you are saying it. And so I was very true on this. If I delivered this entire presentation talking like that, it probably wouldn't keep many of you around. I wouldn't blame any of you for probably leaving the session. So tone of voice is just as important as what we're saying. So basically what this is saying is none of you guys are listening to what I'm saying, which is good. You're listening to how I'm saying it though, so I can overcome that with enthusiasm. Wonderful. When we get to over the phone though, because obviously with this body language, when we're sound to people over the phone, tone of voice jumps up to 77%. Now, I'm from a very young age. I started in B2B sales around the age of 22. Prior to that, I'd always worked in phone sales. I worked in B2C phone sales. But when I moved into face-to-face sales, I had this whole new armory of things that I could use, body language in essence. But my superpower, I always said, was phone sales. I had to learn to get people enthused and get people enthusiastic around what I was doing. Now, again, you can only really do that with the words that you use or the tone of voice that you've got. So when it comes to virtual selling, it's very difficult because we're getting rid of all of the body language part. And again, we're going back to pretty much just having words and tone of voice. What we do have, though, is because we're seeing somebody over a screen, we can take in some consideration their body language, whether that person's smiling when they're speaking to you, what their background is. So I'm going to run you through 5 quick tips now to help you guys close more deals when it comes to virtual selling. Now, you're probably going to look at these things and go, do you know what, Jonathan, they're blooming obvious things. Correct. Most of them are very obvious things, but they are also things that a lot of people are getting wrong at the moment. And we're a big fan over at Geek of looking at the marginal gains theory. The more things that we do right, small things, the bigger results that we're going to get at the end. So, first of all, understand your advantages and your disadvantages. Now, for me, virtual selling and using Zoom and using Microsoft Teams is brilliant in some ways and awful in others. Reason being, if I'm going to give a demonstration of our system, our online academy, or our online Sales Geek Hub, which has got loads of videos on it and training materials on there, I can do that very easily through Zoom. Previously, if I was going to go to someone's offices, I'd have to go in there. I'd then have to get the presentation set up. I'd have to put it on the screen, and then I'd have to go through it. Makes it a heck of a lot easier. Also means that I can have 6 meetings in a day rather than 3. Prior to lockdown, I used to only be able to have 3 meetings in a day. I comfortably fit 6-hour meetings in my day now. No problems at all. That means that I can qualify more clients in, qualify more clients out. So there are a lot of advantages, but there are also a lot of disadvantages. Depending on what your product is, it may be an advantage or it may be a disadvantage. So the first thing you need to understand is what is an advantage to you and what is a disadvantage. Second thing, just have a look at where you are. I got on a call with someone the other day who had got in contact with me and pitched me and was honestly sat in an absolute rubbish tip. They were trying to pitch me on something. And the first thing that you're going to be looking at with this person, they're on the other end of the call, but it's the only interpretation you've got. So you're looking around there, Jen. It's the only thing that you've got. I mean, this is your office in essence that you've got to be working with. So it's really important to just make sure that it's got a certain sort of backdrop to it. Now, what a lot of people are doing to overcome this, I know what will be funny on that sales meeting that I've got with that new VP of sales. Let's put the Tiger King backdrop on it. That'll make them laugh and win me the deal. Save the virtual backgrounds, guys, for quizzes. On webinars, absolutely fine for things like this. No problems at all. This isn't, again, me saying if anyone's got a virtual background on now, not a problem now. But guys, if you've got a really serious sales meeting coming up with somebody, do you really want to be having that Tiger King background? I mean, I know a lot of people seem to think these are really fun. The very start of lockdown, let's be honest, it was the start of every single Zoom call that you had. You'd be sat there in front of Pendle Hill or you'd be sat there in front of the Tiger King, and it was great fun. Everyone was messing about with him. But let's be honest, I mean, a bit of professionalism with it. This is the impression that person is going to get with you. So drop the background, save them for the quizzes, save them for the webinars. But if you've got a call that you really want to be booking someone in, make sure you've got something professional there. Second one, really, really small thing this. But just your camera angle. I mean, if you haven't got an external webcam, buy one. They're about 20 quid. It's not expensive. You're going to get your use out of this. Let's be honest. Regardless of what happens over the next few months, you're going to be using your webcam a heck of a lot more. If not, put your laptop up on a stand. I don't mind saying this morning, guys, you've probably seen from that photo I put up this morning, I spent a good half an hour putting together this setup that I've got here. I wanted to make sure that the lighting was right. It was engaging for you. Also, I've got the screen behind me. The camera angle was at the right length. I know this is a webinar, it's slightly different, but I've got 2 presentations that I'm doing for clients this afternoon. I'm going to use this exact setup. This is going to probably give me, again, just a little marginal gain different from somebody else. I can see everybody there poking their webcams and moving them around. Final thing, well, not final thing, I think this is a bonus tip that I've put in, but just make sure that your sound quality is good. The only way to check this, find a colleague, find someone that you know, and just see what your sound quality is like. Ask them, is my sound all right? Laptops don't always have the best microphones. People will put up with a bad visual. They won't put up with bad audio. So make sure that you've got, look at an external mic. This one that I'm using here looks expensive, cost about 50 quid off eBay. Wasn't a really expensive purchase. That you can buy the same sort of thing for about 23 quid there off Wish. Not expensive. So please make sure that you are making sure that sound is working. Final thing as well. Now, this is one that I hope will really help you guys. But virtual selling tip number 5, make sure you've got a bit of small talk ready. I know you're going to go, well, what do you mean small talk? You can't think about small talk. You have to get on the call and you get some small talk. Absolutely not. If I've got a presentation that I'm going for a client, before I go on that meeting, I will go on LinkedIn. I'll stalk them. I'll see what they've been posting, see what they've been commenting, see what they've been liking on. Because you know what? As soon as I get onto that call with that person, I want to go, hi, Jen, how are you doing? You all right? Jen goes, yeah, not so bad, thank you. Good to see you, Jonathan. Hey. And I go, oh, Jen, I'll tell you what, I love that post that you put up the other day around marketing and what you guys are doing with the Chamber. How are you finding things at the moment at the Chamber? Straight away, I've got something to engage Jen with. There's nothing worse than having that. So thank you for coming on today on this Zoom call. I wanted to talk to you about the social selling call. Again, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it in a normal meeting with someone. So let's not do it on Zoom. Make sure that you've got something a little bit engaging to go and speak to that person. You've got time to prep on this, guys. It's not like you're walking up to someone at a networking event and going, hi, I'm Jonathan. What's your name? Oh, brilliant. You've got to make something up on the spot. You have time behind you now. 5-10 minutes beforehand. Stalk them on LinkedIn. Have a look on the news section on the website. See what is happening in their world. The main thing here, sort something engaging, make it all about them. There's nothing worse than getting on the Zoom call as well and going, hi, Jen, how are you? Yeah, not so bad. How are you, Jonathan? Oh, I'm brilliant, thank you. Yeah, it's been such a good week. I've really enjoed doing this, and I'm doing this. And Jen's sitting there going, oh, right, okay, brilliant. Taking a bit of back here, talking all about you. Make it all about them. Very start of this, you will open up sales avenues from this as well. People might say they're finding something challenging. They might have an issue. Even if it's not something you can help them with, if they've got an issue, they've got a challenge, you can refer them into somebody else. Really, really good way to start a process. That's all that I was going to run through for virtual selling. Guys, I'm just very conscious that we are coming up to the sort of last 10 minutes there. Well, that's not a show of hands, but if you could just type in, does anyone want to run through some cold calling stuff, or shall I save that till the next sales club? Or would you guys like to fire some questions? If you've got some questions, I'd much rather spend this next 10, 15 minutes with you answering any questions that you've got about anything that we've talked about. So if anyone can just put on the chat which you'd rather do there, more than happy to take some questions or to run through social selling. But keep this interactive.
We're also all right to just run on for a little bit longer. The last few weeks has got to sort of 11:45, just with people leaving if they absolutely have to. So don't feel like you need to be done for past.
Brilliant.
Unless obviously there's just me and you left, in which case.
Yeah, I'm all right for 15 minutes after this. Okay, so Jayan, I'm going to come to you. Thank you very much for coming on there. Jayan, could you just unmute Jayan for me?
She needs to do herself.
Oh, well, Jen, could you just unmute yourself?
Hi there.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good.
So you mentioned there trying to engage on a cold, warm call. Just give us a run through at the moment. How does your cold calling strategy work at the moment? What do you do from a cold calling perspective?
So when I say cold, warm, I have a panel, and those the panel are already contracted to us. But I need to try and speak to them in adding value rather than a hindrance.
Okay.
And a lot of them don't really know the full product. You know, they might have signed up, but they don't really understand it. And so that's where the cold warm comes in, is that they kind of know why I'm calling, but they haven't got a clue about the value that I can add. And it's So I can pick up the call, I can say who I am, and then it's without all the excitement I have about what I know I can do for them and the value I can add. It's about just trimming it down to keep it tight. Obviously do the whole rapport thing, but build in some benefit to then get a call to action in. So yeah.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. The point. A big thank you for that. That is the one love to cover. When it comes to cold calling, again, I think what you've mentioned there is all the benefits that you've got for that person. Just give me a bit more of an overview. What are your benefits? Why would somebody want to work with you? If you went out to one of those panel there, what would they get from engaging with you from this new product or this service that you've got?
So they would benefit from training, understanding the product, understanding how it benefits their clients. It's an amazing opportunity to increase referral opportunities. It's a product that, against everything else that they're offering, is second to none in the industry. And so it makes for a really good well-rounded conversation rather than a conveyor belt sale.
Wonderful. So based on what we were talking about before around the A to B mentality, take this for a second. If we're trying to get the client over to B, where they buy from us, so buy is the client gets some benefit. We obviously get the benefit of getting some revenue in for our business. I'm just going to move this microphone over. So, still here, all right? Everyone still there? Yeah. Okay, so if we take a cold call, for example, let's not take this all the way to the client buying. Let's take this all the way to the client considering that they're going to buy from us. So rather than this being B, where they buy from us, we're going to use this as where we get a proposal out to the client, or the client says to us, yes, I'm actually interested in buying this. Can you send me some more information, or can we take this to the next stage? If I was to look at how much of this pitch here, so this is the start of the call, or the Zoom call, so the Zoom call or the Microsoft Teams call that we're having, or the phone call with a person, right to the end of where we start and where we get off that call. How much of this here, this part, percentage-wise, should be us talking about us versus the client talking about them?
I think it's very low. I would say kind of, I don't know, 5%, if I'm honest, because I want them to do the talking.
Absolutely. So 5% should be us talking, and then 95% should be them talking. Is that right, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd probably increase that slightly, and what I normally use here is the 80-20 rule.
Okay.
The key part here is to have your introduction ready. So whenever you're cold calling, you want to make sure that you've got your introduction ready. And when I say you've got your introduction ready, practice it, write it down, record yourself saying it, listen to it back, cringe at yourself because you've done your introduction to yourself. But if you can get that right, that very first part of it, everything else is going to open up. So say, for example, if I was contacting a sales director out there at the moment, I'm trying to get in contact with sales directors because I want to help their team with training. Very first thing that we need to look at here, number one, tone of voice. Again, not what you say, the way you say it. So if I'm pitching a sales director, good morning, is that Bob? Bob, hi, it's Jonathan Finch from Sales Geek. How are you? Yeah, very well, thank you. Bob, I just wanted to catch up with you. We're working with a number of sales teams across the UK at the moment, helping them with virtual selling. I noticed a couple of your team have done X, Y, and Z, and just wanted to find out a bit more about your virtual selling strategy. What is it that you guys do when it comes to social selling and virtual selling? The very final thing that you need to end your introduction with is an open question. Sales 101. You need to end that with an open question at the end of it. If you end it with a closed question that they can go yes or no to, you aren't going to get anything back from it. So, Bob, do you do much social selling at the moment? No. Not going to take me any further. Not going to get me anywhere nearer to here. Or even if he goes yes, I'm still not going to take me any further. I need to open them up and get them talking. So once you've designed your introduction, and you've got that down to a T, the second thing that you need to do is you need to put together a list of 5 to 10 open questions. Excuse me, handwriting. Those open questions will help you get further down here, and this should take up, like I said, 80% of the pitch. So if you're asking the right questions to that person, what you're trying to find here is their issue. And I'm going to just chuck another board up here. we always talk about this as it's the iceberg. So imagine here, this is your iceberg that you've got here. This is going to look more like an ice cream cone, I think. But imagine that this is your iceberg, and this bit here is your water that you've got. It's not blue, but this is your water that you've got. Now, you've probably all seen the iceberg theory before. This is the bit that you can see. So when you're going along, there's much more under the surface than there is at the top. So if you went to someone and said, my first opening question was, so could you give me a bit more of an overview as to what you do from a virtual selling perspective? Yeah, we do quite a bit of virtual selling at the moment. We're trying to do a lot more over Zoom, but it is causing a bit of issues. I don't know whether the team's got the right kit, and I also don't know whether they're trained to do it. That is the start of the iceberg, the top of it, the tip. That's not the problem. That's not their issue. What that's causing for the business is their issue. That's the thing that they're finding challenging. That's the problem. So the fact that their team aren't social selling, they're not virtual selling enough at the moment, isn't a problem. The fact that they're not bringing in enough revenue, that they're not hitting target, that sales director is worried if he's going to get sacked at the end of the year because he hasn't hit his target, because the team aren't virtual selling, is the problem. So what you've always got to be looking at here is, what is the tip of the iceberg? What is this person's driving point going to be? And each one of your questions should be moving you down a layer until you get to that bit at the bottom, which is the real issue, the real challenge. So come up with 5 questions that will help the person you're speaking to realize that they need you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really good.
So it's really important, though, to, before you go into any cold call pitch, I still do this. I will have a pitch in front of me. Now, this doesn't mean that I sit there and I read through my pitch. Hi, it's Jonathan calling from Sales Geek. I wanted to talk to you about sales training. Doesn't mean I stick to it, but you're always going to get that little bit of the conversation where you go, I don't know what to say next. And if you've got your 5 questions listed out in front of you that you could ask to anyone, make sure they're open questions that you could ask to anybody. Really, really important, really good way of keeping that conversation flowing and keeping that conversation going. Anyone else got any questions that they'd like to?
Yes, I've been posed a question privately. What would you do if the person you're speaking to on Zoom doesn't switch their camera on? This makes it much more difficult. And what could you do but without upsetting them?
Interesting one, that. I've not actually had that myself. But what I would probably say in that case is I wouldn't have arranged a Zoom with them. All of our Zoom invites that we send out, we say it's a Zoom invite so that we can see you. So that's part of the invitation that we send out. But personally, I'd probably move that over to a phone call if that person wasn't willing to do that on face-to-face on camera. At the same point as well, I mean, I would ask the question, why are you having a Zoom call with them? Because that's something that probably you could do over the phone.
Yeah, I'm probably quite guilty of being the other person on the other end who wants to turn my camera off, because everybody seems to have, at the moment, I won't say any names, but a few weeks ago I got a calendar invite from somebody, a gentleman as well, who I've never met in my life, and we wanted to chat. I said, yeah, I agreed to this call, and the next thing a Zoom invite came up, and it was for 8:30 in the morning, and it was like he expected my camera to be on. And between us, but there's 30 odd people still listening, I wasn't dressed at 8:30 in the morning. And you would never ring somebody for the first time ever as a FaceTime, would you? Ever?
Yeah, and I think it's that first qualification piece there. We might skip a step. I mean, the first step there is a phone call. The reason being a phone call is much quicker. Just being honest, if you get on a Zoom call with someone, let's be honest, a Zoom call normally is between half an hour and 45 minutes to an hour. So once you've committed that you're going to be on that call with them, I'd probably say you want to be qualifying that to start with, speaking to that person on the phone first. Is it worth us jumping on a Zoom so I can show you around the software, so I can give you a bit more of an overview, we can see how we get on? I'd probably use that as a qualification method to start with, because once you're on that Zoom call, you sat there for the next half an hour.
I think you're probably right. I think the issue is probably more that if you've got on a Zoom with them and they've left the camera off, they maybe weren't expecting a Zoom, or don't know what's what.
Yeah, I think at the same point as well, I'll be asking why you're having that Zoom call if you're not going to be showing them anything. The other thing, and this is just a small tip that I've been doing with people, not with new clients, but with existing clients. Let's be honest, everybody is getting a bit sick of staring at the PC. I'm getting sick of staring at a PC screen with different people on it.
I've had to get special glasses.
I got them just before lockdown, just to be a bit more geek. But one of the things that I've been doing with our more key accounts is, everybody again is setting up, should we have a Zoom call? And I've said to a couple of our key accounts, rather than have a Zoom call, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put my headphones in at my end and put them on my phone. and I'm going to go for a walk. Do you want to do the same at your end? And we'll have the same conversation we'd have had over Zoom, but you go and get some exercise. I'll go and get some exercise. I know we can't physically see each other. I can't tell you how much more productive those meetings have been for me. Just going for a wander with my headset, and we're reasonably lucky. We get pretty decent signal when I've been working from home, but I get an hour's worth of exercise. The other person does exactly the same, and it's just a bit of a new approach. They've gone, oh, that'd be great. Actually, yeah, I'll be honest, I couldn't be bothered staring at Zoom for another hour, and you've gone, no, me too.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, so guys, anyone got any more questions or anything that they want to ask? I know we've not really touched on cold calling. We've done that a little bit there. Lucy, I've embraced pajama Zoom calls. That's a new one for me.
Oh, that's the future, Lucy, I think.
Well, guys, I suppose if nobody's got any more questions, I'll wrap that up from there. A massive thank you from my side of things for tuning in today. I know at the moment time is massively valuable for everybody. I hope you've all taken one or two things away from that you can utilise, whether that is just one of the small tips around virtual selling or social selling. If anyone does need any more help from us, we work with business owners, salespeople all across the UK, everybody from, like I say, small SMEs all the way up to larger organisations. We've got options from £9.99 per month all the way up to us actually working in businesses as sales directors. So if anyone does need any more help or wants any assistance from training, we've got a lot of different options from there. Please just give us a shout after. We'd be more than happy to have a conversation with anyone.
Thank you very much. Smashed it as usual. Can we have a virtual hand clap? Well done, Jonathan.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for everybody we've still got a fairly decent, healthy number online, even though we're past half past. So thank you for everybody sticking on. If you've got any questions, if they come up to you after the event, all of our speakers have been really open and saying that, just to get in touch, drop them a LinkedIn or whatever. If you can access and share the footage when I get it online later this afternoon, then please do. The more people that can attend these events, obviously, the more interactive they become. And touching on LinkedIn, rather than using it for selling, if you are struggling and wanting to use it for marketing and improve your company pages, the Chamber have just accessed some funding to be able to deliver free, fully funded workshops on social media for businesses. So keep an eye out for that, or contact membership@chamberlancs.co.uk. And on that note, until next week, I shall leave you and say thank you, everybody.
First rule of Sales Club, tell everybody about
Sales
Everybody.
Club. Thanks ever so much,
guys.
well done. Cheers,
See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.